Okay.
Jeff Beecher. Storm Trainer.
Here.
Tammy Cromley. Brian Westover. Patty Babcock. Lisa Fick.
Here.
Bryce Taylor. Here. Matt Watt. Here. John Babcock. Bobby DeMar. Craig Dimmitt.
Present.
Scott Harwood.
I'm here.
Eric Tuffamo. Here. Nikki Guy.
Here.
Ashley Rivers.
Here.
Vicky Campbell.
Here.
Adrian Hamilton. Bruce Mason.
Here.
Paul Zim. Dr. Bumbrider.
Here.
Joe Farrell.
Joe's here.
I'm here.
Mary Ramo. Here.
Do we have a quorum of voting people? I don't know if we have a quorum.
Good.
Voting-
Tammy Trombley's on.
1, 2,
Oh,
3.
Tammy Trombley's on.
Tammy's on.
Scott's on. Patty, are you on? Patty's not on it. Also, Tracy Viola's on. Very cool. Hi, Tracy.
Can you call Scott Harwood?
That's got it.
So many members do you have here?
1, 2, 3, 4. 13.
So you have the quorum.
All right. Meeting minutes went out the last meeting. Hopefully have time to review them. I can get a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
I'll move.
Harwood,
I'll
second.
second it. I'll second it, Craig.
Craig, you do this? Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor? Can we just do the extensions and
So,
let's just do these.
so basically, if you want to do, you got to make sure that all voting members are on camera. And because I'm only seeing like 3 or 4. And then basically moving forward on the meeting, if there's a motion, she'll ask for abstentions and objections. And if there are none, then that would be cause to move forward, unless it's a roll call that you need to do.
Any abstentions on the meeting minutes? All right, any objections? All right, so moved. Committee reports, executive committee. We're in motion to do new contract. Huh?
Sorry, do you want Dr. Viola to present first before you go into committee?
What's this? Oh. Dr. Viola, nice to see you. Welcome. I'm Nikki Guy, and I know we've kind of emailed a little bit back and forth, so it's nice to meet you. From the World University Games, she's going to give us a little update here, so.
Yes, so thank you guys for having me. Let me see if I can just share my screen. Here we go.
We send Patty the.
Okay, does that comes up for everybody?
Gotcha.
Perfect. Okay. So just to introduce myself, my name is Tracy Viola. I am a primary care sports medicine doctor here in Lake Placid, and I'm the chief medical officer for the World University Games that are coming up in January. And so some of you I have been in contact with. I might have met you in person. It might have been more via email, but we're really working on getting out better information to, you know, our EMS colleagues, and that's why I'm here today. So I just want to give you guys kind of the little planning update so far, and I'm happy to take any questions at any point in time. Just jump right in. So in January, the World University Games are going to be the largest collegiate winter sports competition. It is second only in size to the Olympics, and it will be about twice the size that the Lake Placid 1980 Winter Games were. Lake Placid has actually hosted the World University Games back in 1973, so it's going to be quite bigger than it was back then. We're expecting about 2,500 athletes and coaches. There will probably be about 2,000 workforce and volunteers, about 500 media. So there are going to be a lot of people that are coming into our areas. There will be 86 different medal events across 12 different sports that will be held at 9 different venues, and I'll give you a little update on that. We're actually not having esports. I'm sorry, I didn't update this slide. But we're expecting about 600 universities being represented from 50 or more countries. The 250,000 forecasted attendance is incorrect. That was kind of a media number or a marketing number back in the day. What we're expecting now, more realistically, is probably about 30,000 ticket sales. So not necessarily 30,000 individual people coming in, but 30,000 different ticket sales.
Dr. Viola,
Yep,
were you advancing the slides?
I have been.
Yeah, they're not moving on our end.
Hang on one second. I had this
Maybe
happen
go
the
to
other day.
slideshow.
Yeah, I think it is the slideshow. Can you see it now by the numbers?
No, now we just lost it.
Hang on, let me share it one more time. I don't know why it does it like this, but.
To make our life challenging.
Exactly. Can you see it now when I just leave it sort of in this format?
Yes.
Okay, so sorry, I know it's not as.
But it wasn't advancing before when you had it in that format. So try to go to the next slide and see if it works.
Did
Oh,
that
now
one
it's
work?
working.
Perfect.
We got
Okay.
it.
So the official dates of competition are January 12th to the 22nd. The hockey games, because there are a bunch of preliminary games, they'll actually start on January 11th. But we have to have these athlete villages open starting January 7th, and they'll stay open until the 24th. Again, different sports, their training kind of varies, but the earliest that we're responsible is January 7th. And then after January 24th, if anybody stays, they, go back to all of our normal, processes. If they needed medical care, go to the ER, et cetera. This is just it's actually one of the older competition schedules, but it just gives you kind of an idea. Our 12 different sports, over these more than 10 days, it's really closer to 2 weeks, and where different events are going to actually be taking place. But you can see from about January 13th through the 20th, that is really when the bulk of competition is going to happen. There are going to be 3 different regions that our athletes are living in and competing in. All of the preliminary hockey games will take place in Canton Potsdam out west at Chiel Arena, Maxey Hall, and Roos House. All of the sports will touch Lake Placid. So after the preliminary rounds, the Final Four hockey teams for both men's and women's will move to Lake Placid and play their semifinal and final games here in Lake Placid. We'll have cross-country skiing, biathlon, ski jumping, ski and snowboard, figure skating, curling, again, the hockey games, speed skating. And then down in North Creek, some of the ski and snowboard events will take place down there. So there'll be probably about 500 athletes and delegation members out in Canton Potsdam, probably about 500 down by Gore Mountain, and then really the remainder of them will be in Lake Placid. So we are required to have medical services at every village and the venues, and I'll explain a little bit about that. At every single venue, at any time that competition or training is taking place, we have to have an ambulance on site. So if you take into account, 9 different venues plus, 3 different villages, the number of ambulances that we're going to need really overwhelm the resources that we have. We have to have an athlete medical station, a spectator medical station. We'll be bringing in volunteers to help man all of that. Any of the existing venues that already have medical services in place, we will be complementing those medical services. We won't be taking them over. We won't be pushing them out. For all of our ski and snowboard events, we also have to have a regional helicopter. So there will be a helicopter in the Lake Placid region, and there will be a helicopter in the Gore region. At the villages, so in both Canton Potsdam and down at Gore Mountain, those will be kind of real, true villages, quote unquote. The Canton Potsdam will be a college dorm, and then down in Gore, we're going to be renting out an entire hotel. So again, about 500 athletes at each of those places. And then in the Lake Placid region, we really have this kind of hybrid model where some people are going to be at a college dorm in this region, probably about 500 people in that. And then other athletes are going to be dispersed amongst different hotels in Lake Placid. So for the college campus, we'll have, medical services at their health center that, again, we're bringing volunteers in for. In the Lake Placid region, we're actually taking over the space of Lake Placid Sports Medicine. And so we're going to really try to kind of combine our resources so that we're not duplicating efforts at every single hotel here. Here at Lake Placid Sports Medicine, this is in the Lake Placid Health and Fitness Center. We have a part-time emergency room. We've got a beautiful gym. We've got physical therapy spaces, a pool. We have lab and x-ray. So this is really a nice centralized way to take care of everybody that's going to be in this Lake Placid region. What we're really trying to do is take the burden of these games off of our local emergency rooms, off of our local primary care offices, off of our, local EMS agencies, because life is still going to go on outside of these games, and everybody is still going to have to staff their normal ambulances, etc. I have been working with all of the local and regional hospitals, even going out to the level 1 trauma centers that are closest to each area. So University of Vermont, upstate in Syracuse, and Albany Med down south of Gore. Our biggest partner is going to be Adirondack Medical Center, just because of their proximity, and the number of sports and athletes that are going to be in Lake Placid physically. But all of these hospitals have been made aware of this event as well. For the level 1 trauma centers, this is really probably going to be nothing new for them. UVM is still going to get any of the major trauma from whiteface. Albany Med will get the major trauma from Gore Mountain, if there are any, neurosurgical injuries, et cetera. And then for our local hospitals, again, that's who we're really trying to take the burden off of. And that's where our volunteer medical staff hopefully will be able to do that. So an athlete that just needs, an x-ray of their ankle and doesn't need the full ER visit, et cetera, we're working with the hospitals so that our doctors will just be able to order that x-ray and, again, keep those people out of the ER. We're of course going to have some actual emergent things that, we'll still need to use the ER for. These are young, healthy kids, but they'll still get things like the flu, COVID, appendicitis. So, there will still be some use of the ER. This is just a little breakdown of the number of ambulances that we would need, especially if all of these different venues are training or competing at the same time. And on a lot of days, if you remember back to that quick little schedule of events, most days, all of these things are happening at the same time. Because we always know that there's going to be trauma at both Whiteface and Gore, whether it's our athlete or a day skier, we're planning to have 2 ambulances at the mountain. Because of the number of events that will happen at the Olympic Center and the Oval, we'll have 2 ambulances there. And then we'll have 1 ambulance at each of the other venues, and then also at our main villages. So 1 ambulance in Lake Placid, 1 ambulance at the dorm out in Canton Potsdam, and 1 ambulance at the hotel down in North Creek. So these games obviously are happening over multiple counties in New York. While we keep referring to them as the Lake Placid World University Games, in truth, these are really a state-sponsored event. And so New York State has been footing the bill for a lot of what is going to happen here. And there are certain things that I don't have control over as the chief medical officer, that the counties might not have control over, even though, on a regular basis, they're operating their own 911 systems. And one of these things is actually the 911 system. So the state police are going to basically take over 911 as it relates to these games. So a 911 call will still come in to, your main county dispatch center. If it is determined that, the call is about something at one of our venues or villages, that call will then be transferred over to the state police. And I don't want to speak on behalf of the state police. I have been working with them. I cannot tell you that I have every single detail completely, planned and understood. But the state police is working on the whole communication side of things. We are planning on bringing in ambulances from a private company. And I think this is a decision that ultimately kind of rests on my shoulders. From everything that I'm hearing at many different levels, and here in Lake Placid, I can tell you that most of our EMTs are volunteer. They run on multiple different ambulances. And so if I, take them to staff a crew from Lake Placid, I'm then also taking them out of the other roles that they fulfill in our community. And I have to have ambulances on site in order for any competition and any training to take place. So that is really the motivation for bringing in other ambulances. It is not because our local ambulances can't do this. It's because I have to bring in more than what we have. And I have to prove to the state that I'm not taking resources away from our local communities. So sorry, that was a big roundabout as we were kind of talking about the 911 system, but basically that call for the games will go to the state police. They will be able to dispatch the ambulances for the games. I will have a head of EMS as well, who a lot of you probably know, Patty Bashaw. I've worked with her for quite a few years on Ironman Lake Placid. And, you know, she has worked on the Goodwill games when they were here back in, I think it was 2000, I want to say. So she has a lot of experience with doing things just like this. For something that happens outside of the quote games, village, or venue, the normal 911 processes are still going to happen. So if there's an accident on, you know, Route 86 in Wilmington, that 911 call, a normal, you know, Wilmington ambulance will be dispatched. So again, important that we're not taking resources away from our local communities. If somebody, you know, is in a restaurant or a hotel and calls 911, that has nothing to do with the games, because we're still going to have, you know, other tourists here. Those will all go through our normal local ambulances. I'm working on recruiting a lot of our volunteers. I can say that we actually have every village and venue staffed with volunteer physicians already that are coming, you know, not just from other areas in New York State, but actually all across the country. We'll have nurses, athletic trainers, chiropractors, massage therapists, physical therapists. So, you know, really relying on a lot of people from even outside our own area. Oops, sorry, I jumped a little bit ahead. COVID, you know, I know that COVID really had a lot of unfortunate effects on our healthcare systems, on our EMS systems. People are burnt out. COVID will still exist. We are requiring everybody to be vaccinated. The federal government has kind of made that simple for us, because you must be fully vaccinated to travel by plane to get into the US. We will most likely test our delegation members after they have arrived in Lake Placid to, you know, hopefully identify and isolate any asymptomatic or early COVID people. And we will be following all of the New York State, the local Department of Health guidelines. We will notify, obviously, all departments of health for any positive results. Right now, the US has suspended the need to show proof of a negative COVID-19 test before you travel. So they're going to be reassessing that in September, and that might change. That might be back in effect. So again, hopefully, you know, asymptomatic people will be, you know, we'll find those before they wind up getting on a plane. Anybody that's symptomatic, of course, will be tested. And I'm also working with a private company for that, again, to take that burden really off of our local hospitals and health centers. And that is really the end of my presentation. This is my contact info. Feel free to, you know, take a screenshot if, you know, you have questions or concerns. Please feel free to reach out to me, you know, and ultimately I just thank you guys for, you know, what you do on a daily basis, and how you'll be supporting, you know, these games and our communities at the time of the games. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, anything that I can answer?
I think I have a question. Can we get to the camera facing? Of course, I think probably. Oh, I guess. Hi. So you and I talked helicopters a couple of months ago, and I was wondering how that ever hashed out and whether that's going to impact helicopter availability for the rest of the region when you guys are up and running.
Yeah, so
Or
things have.
we haven't landed that helicopter yet, which could be, I don't know.
So we do have a plan. So in the Lake Placid region, the New York State Police and North Country Life Flight will be providing a helicopter. And that will be stationed in Saranac Lake at the regular airport where they always are. They will have a second backup helicopter for the community's needs. We basically have to have a helicopter on the ground while any of these, training and competition are taking place. So there'll be an extra helicopter locally for our community. Down at Gore, we're working with LifeNet, and we're in the contract phase. There has not been a contract that has been signed yet. But they will provide a helicopter. So the plan of where it was going to be stationed, I am hearing some different things from the local EMS agency. So I have to meet with them to kind of hash out some things. But the plan was that LifeNet was going to make arrangements to keep that helicopter just outside of Gore at Johnsburg EMS. And then LifeNet will have, their another community helicopter at their Thai base to cover the community. So it shouldn't take resources away from our communities. Basically every other helicopter company, I had talked to UVM and to Dartmouth about their resources. I talked to Mercy out west, and just nobody was able to staff a helicopter. So I think LifeNet is going to be great. They've been really wonderful to work with. I've gotten to meet with the state police head of aviation, so they're really excited about the games. So we'll have extra resources for that too.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the doctor? All right, thank you so much. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Me too.
Bye.
All right. Moving right along, executive committee report. As you all know, we did the merger with Mountain Lakes and North Country and the Fort Drum Regional Health Program. So in that, as far as the executive committee goes, we have been, there's a new contract, the budget contract we have to get into. Been making a budget for the next year soon, in the next couple of weeks, right? So we'll be having several meetings, but that's had one meeting so far, but that's basically what we do. Transition is, as you can see, it's pretty much done.
Just hiding.
It's but that's it for the executive committee. Storm.
So finance has a bit of work to do. We need to get some budgets done. We need to get a handle on our finances, which we are significantly behind in. We're going to work on that over the next month and hopefully restore some of the revenue that potentially is sitting out there that we need to claim back again. So if you are a coordinator for your county, remind people that they could go back and look at our bills, because we're going to be asking for some documentation of things that might have been owed to Mountain Lakes. But those should be coming out hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks, when I can get them all compiled and put together. We'll reach out to all the agencies who at this point looks like owes Mountain Lakes money, so that we can restore some of our financing and keep the Ed Corp going. So one of our dilemmas is, remember that the REMSCO and the REMAC and the regional council will fall under really the management and the financial structure with Fort Drum, but the Education Corporation is a standalone, and we are going to have to make sure that we can make it financially sustainable at this point to be able to manage education across the group. If we're not able to do that, then our education across the region will suffer. And so we need to be able to kind of put all those pieces in place. We should have better information at the next meeting, and hopefully know where we stand financially, totally. Hopefully, that would be our goal. Anyway. So when we meet in October, we should have some better information. I'll leave it at that. Very good.
So they're having a little bit of a hard time hearing people back, so if you're gonna speak, if you could move kind of to the front of the room a little bit so that you guys can pick you up.
Is that it? No? That's okay. All right, Personnel Committee. Patricia. Yeah,
I don't think. She's.
you sounded like her.
I'm here. Sorry, I just had to unmute.
She's here.
There she is. It's all yours, Shirley.
I'm by myself with my dog. Anyway, get down. We did not meet. We did speak about some personnel issues during the education meeting, committee meeting, and I think, you know, as Storm mentioned, we need to come up with a budget, and I can brief you more when I get to that committee.
Thanks. Compliance and audit. That's Lisa Fish. I know we haven't had anything, but what we were discussing previous to the meeting was that we need to make a bylaw change about our meetings. And that's, will fall under your committee. Because right now we're not allowed to meet in hybrid past the executive order, so we need to get that changed. So that we would still be able to have the hybrid option, so something that you guys are not going to work on going forward.
That's the
Alright.
only thing I really had to say. Yeah. Otherwise, there's no report.
Very good. Thanks, Liz. Systems Committee.
I don't have any things to report this time.
We don't have any ceiling stuff going on.
Not that we've got anything to report.
Awards Committee, Robbie Marsh. We did submit a bunch of awards to the state. Through the council. Do we have that list?
I have them in my email. They were all the ones that were forwarded to us.
We did forward some awards to the state. As we hear back from them. We'll send that out. Nominating committee. Yeah, everything.
Right now, that'll be next week.
That's
14.
The annual meetings in May for your bylaws. Council should meet annually in May.
REMAC reports. Dr. Baumgartner. We have to do.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't I do the new news and then we'll do the ALS operating certificates. So there are only two of those things of new news. And they actually are both protocol things. So there's two new protocols that you guys need to be aware of. One is the epistaxis protocol. The other one is the tranexamic acid protocol. The epistaxis really just centers about using oxymetazoline, which is Afrin, thank God, Thank God we don't have to say oxymetazoline on a daily basis. Not bad though, right? Oh, I got through it. It's fun.
I can't say it.
So, stay tuned for some education on that. Same goes for tranexamic acid, which is a, medication that can, stop the breakdown of blood clots. And you can use it for trauma. Both are relatively cheap and easy to use, but make sure you know what you're doing before you use them. Certainly you need to have your agency medical director do some education for you if nobody else is. And they definitely need to know that you are adding these to your formulary and you put them in your drug boxes. So make sure that your doc is aware that they're signing off on some new medications. Not all of them are up to speed, as you know. So, anybody else, am I missing? Pretty much. And then we have a bunch of ALS operating certificate approvals, which I don't have in my head.
So I can read them all off and then do them as one motion if that is what
The only one we have to do separate is.
North Queensbury.
So let's talk about North Queensbury first, and then we can
Okay.
talk about the rest of the chunk.
North Queensbury is just gonna be a 6-month approval because they're merging with Bay Ridge Rescue Squad. That's to be completed January 1st, so they're approved for a 6-month period because they we're giving them another agency, so. That came as a forwarded motion. Do I have a second?
So second.
Bryce will second. Any abstentions? Any objections? Okay, so carried. The other ones are
So Lamoille, Rockwell Falls,
Rockwell Falls, Wilmington,
Dart,
Dart,
and Mariah.
and Mariah. All came as forwarded motions. Were all approved for 1 year ALS operating.
2 years.
2 years, sorry.
2 months.
I didn't say 2 months. 2 years operating authorities. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. It's Patty.
Patty seconds. Any abstentions? Any objections? Okay, so carried. I think that's it. I think that's it. Any questions for Dr. Martin? Education reports. Shirley, you're up again.
Okay, here we go.
That's you, Patty.
Yeah, no, I'm getting there. Just be patient. So we had almost a 2-hour long education meeting today, and I'll let the different course sponsors speak, give their own update. And as like Storm said before, we do definitely need to come up with a plan. And there were several suggestions. One, we need to determine if it is feasible to keep the Ed Corp going. And that is the plan. So don't put any false rumors out there. That is the plan until we come up with a more definitive action, and who knows, maybe a lot of this stuff will work and we won't have to, we won't discuss it again. But anywho, so one of the things that Travis brought up was that they have increased the sites of card agencies that can submit or print out whatever, email their own e-cards. So that's increased quite a bit in the different counties. He named off, it would seem like, I don't know, a good 6 agencies. Thing two, in particular with the AHA, if you are sending in paperwork, you don't need to mail it. You can simply scan it and email it to paperwork@mountainlakesems.org. And if somebody could put that in the chat, that would be awesome. Zach's commitment and requirements to North Country are extensive and leaves him little time to be able to do some of the Ed Corp stuff. So your point of contact should be Travis. You can CC Zach as well, but Zach won't have the time necessarily to produce the roster or the cards and all that good stuff. So please email Travis and or Mickey on any of the Ed Corp or AHA stuff. I won't steal Mary's thunder. Okay. As of right now, the paramedic program classroom in the south will remain at the Mountain Lakes office. And again, that will be part of the plan going forward is, does ECH kick in some money towards the rent and, the internet and stuff, but that's to be discussed. So like Storm said, we will be working on an education budget. The question was asked, what are Travis's hours? And it will be between 12 and 15 hours a week. And again, he is the point person for any Ed Corp or AHA questions or pushing things forward. That will remain in place until we come back with a plan to see, if we can actually run enough courses to keep the Ed Corp viable. A lot of the problem is in the fact that we have not gotten some of our quarterly payment from the state, and that would certainly help if that came through. Vanessa will be looking at and making sure that the spreadsheet that Storm is speaking about, where agencies owe money, like I looked on it and we owe for 2 different bills, so we're going to just double check that up here. And if that's the case, then obviously we'll send that money in. So some of it may be paid for already, but there were like 4 pages of different agencies that hadn't paid and, paid on some courses or some heart association cards. So the budget, Mickey will be contacting ACC to see if they can't come up with some arrangement to do courses in the southern part of our region. Also, Paul Zen in Washington County, they seem to be talking about something over that way. So hopefully more to come on that. We will be calling an instructors meeting because we need to reinforce the fact that if you're going to teach for Mountain Lakes, you need to teach and get some courses out there, and you need to be cognizant of the fact that you can't have like a ton of lab people for 12 people. So anyway, those were a lot of the discussion points. Just let me see if there's anything else. And I believe not. Anybody got any questions for me?
So there was one question in the chat,
Yeah.
and it was, Craig Dumas asked, I thought that Zach was the only one coming over with the transition.
He is, that's correct.
So Zach is with Fort
Okay.
Drum Regional Health Planning Organization, but so we're covering the agencies as far as anything with their CONs, with operating, with technical advice, as well as the covering the REMAC and the REMSCO for the regional council. And credentialing, yep.
So what we need to do is once we get quarter 3 and 4 in the door and get all the program agency and the council bills paid, or the money exactly where it's supposed to be, we're hoping and assuming that there will be some money left over because the Ed Corp was paying to keep like the rent and some of the payroll going. So once that happens, then really there will not be a Mountain Lakes council or program agency. You will be folded into, or we are folded into North Country. The Ed Corp, like somebody mentioned before, will stand alone. And you're correct. Our only employee is Travis, and he's part-time. He will get some assistance as Zach can help, but it won't be a lot. Does that answer your question, Greg?
It is. I know we've heard a lot of issues coming from Mountain Lakes. That's why this transition was so important. I just have some reservations with the budget and what's happened at Mountain Lakes, and continuing to have Travis in that position, I hope is not problematic. I don't know if this is the time to air that concern, but I just wanted to bring it up.
Hold on one sec. Sorry.
That is children's misbehaving.
So I think if we're going to talk about personnel issues, then we should go into executive session. You know, I totally am, you know, have heard concerns as well. So if it's not my meeting to run, but if we were to need to go into executive session, that's what we would need to go ahead and do.
I'd like to make a motion, we go into executive session then.
Second? Anybody? Okay, I will. All right, so anybody who's not
All right.
a
So,
voting member of the council,
so theoretically, like, unless within the motion that you state you want anybody here, Zach, myself, Mary need to leave because it's executive session and we're not
Right.
members of the
and
council.
anybody, any of the guests.
But I still can't identify the 2666 number.
But how do, we can't just,
You can
They don't-
expel them.
Yeah, you can.
You can expel them.
oh, you could spell.
Yes,
Yes, you can. And until they identify, they should be.
Would you like me to repeal my motion until the end of the meeting? And then that way, only those that are voting members will stay on and then the rest can leave?
Might be easier.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I would like to retract my motion to go into executive session.
Need a second for that, right?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
We'll do that under new business. End of the- All right. Because we were still in committee report. Did you have anything else for your committee report, Patty, or?
No, somewhere the program or the course sponsors are given a chance to update us, right?
Yes, well,
Yes,
we're gonna go
that's
through that right now, but you were first.
Okay, well, I'm done.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Clinton County storm. Everything.
So, I've done this like 3 times today, but, okay, we'll do it one more. So Clinton is doing their usual courses. We are just finishing our summer course. That will finish August 13th with their final practical skills exam. And then we will start our new EMT courses at the end of August. So I think it's like somewhere the week of the 23rd or the 20th, whatever. The next week is before when college starts back up again. Because we are a credit bearing course now, we are required to follow the guidelines of the semesters. But it's changed our dynamic a little bit. We will finish that course in December, and then we will start our next one in January. So we are not changing our format. When we do courses, we will have a basic and a refresher in the fall, a basic refresher in the spring, and we will have an AEMT course in the fall. I'm not sure exactly the start date of that yet. I think the schedule is gone in, but I can't remember off the top of my head what the start date is. I want to say it's September. So if you have people who are interested in doing that course, they need to get in touch with Angie. All of our course apps have gone into the state, so we should be good to go for the fall. And then we have to consider the next thing we need to look at is our paramedic refresher, because the first group who did the bridge program for paramedics is coming up for renewal. So we will be working toward getting one of those courses on board unless everybody's going to do CME. So I have to reach out to everybody in that group and see where they are. The first group was a fairly large group, so we should be able to move right through that. I'm hoping to do just a rapid research for it. That would be helpful. We'll see what they need. So that's Clinton County.
Thank you. Bruce Barry, are you on to give us the ECH update?
I am. So ECH, we just started our fourth paramedic class. We have 17 students in the class between the 3 sites. So numbers still remain fairly strong. We are in the process. We just completed our class that we're using for the COAMPS accreditation process. So we have until January to file all our paperwork and have a site visit for the accreditation. But we're actually looking to do that this fall. And that's, well, I have 4 instructors that are working on their CIC through the course. So we'll hopefully at the end of the course here, we'll have 4 additional CICs. That's all I have.
Any questions for Bruce? Scott Harwood, outside.
Yeah, LSI will be offering the same daytime, or not a daytime, evening course that they run. They'll start that up in September. And then on North Country, they'll be starting 2 fall courses in about 3 weeks. Both are full, one in Malone, one in Saranac Lake. We'll run AEMT in the spring in Malone and Saranac Lake, and then a summer in Saranac Lake. And we plan to meet with Bryce, who was at the meeting, next Monday to talk about some potential courses in Essex County, see what Essex County would like to do. Thank you.
All right, any questions for Scott? All right, moving right along. Mountain Lakes region. I didn't write down the list of courses. I know there's a course happening in Essex County. There's a couple courses happening in Washington County currently. There's going to be a refresher in Queensbury. That's going to be starting up. And we're going to look into doing a fall EMT program also. That's all the courses. I think that's right. Thank you. And then as far as Patty already gave the education update as far as what we're doing going forward is to make a plan on courses and a budget, with that all figured out. Any questions? All right. Coordinator reports. Hey, Storm, we're right back to you.
All right, we just finished the fair. Wonderful. We didn't have any big incidents. Nothing too exciting.
The monster truck?
It's okay. The monster trucks, yeah. Well, some of the EMTs were a little concerned about the monster trucks. But other than that, we did fine. Nobody got hurt. We had very little traffic from the fair, actually, for kids. Less traffic than we've had in the past, so it was okay. Other than that, we're revamping our disaster trailer and reworking how that's going to function and how it's going to get checked and restocked in a timely manner, since it hasn't really been very successful so far. So we have done policy and hopefully that will improve this month. Other than that, we're talking about it. And we can speak about it. All right.
Perfect. Essex County. Bryce.
So Essex County continues to work on our countywide EMS system. We've reached out to all the agencies for information on age of volunteers, engagement of volunteers, open shifts. Because we're beginning to see some strain on the system again, increasing wait times from dispatch to en route, as well as increasing drop call numbers starting to come back even with the county support. So we're working on making a sustainable system. We are revamping our MCI and some of our disaster planning with input on some of the dispatching agencies. And we too just went through our MCI trailer and got it restocked and brought up to Wayne. That's it.
Franklin County, Scott.
Yeah, just real quickly, we're just encouraged that we'll have some healthy fall courses starting, and we certainly are seeing some of those staffing challenges that Bryce and Storm mentioned. So we have a little hope with that, and to report.
Warren County, we have provider problems down here too. I feel like we're in a crisis, but we still seem to be managing to answer calls at this point, barely. But in Warren County, we have revamped, worked with LifeNet to review the auto launch policy through the dispatch. We worked on structured fire responses for ambulances with the fire advisory board, so that went well. Stress management classes. And through the state with Jen Solomon, we're doing a mental health day in Warren County, which I'll be passing out information for everybody. You register online with the state. And we'll be holding a class in Warren County. Other than that, I think that was pretty much it. No movement on anything for county this week. I don't see that actually coming. Washington County, Bruce Mason, what do you got for us? Bruce, you're on mute. I don't know if you're trying to talk. Paul is in. Dan? Bruce, you there? Mason? All right, we'll come back to you. Joe Farrell, you're up.
Good afternoon or good evening. So there's a few things. First one is that probably in late August, early September, we're going to begin the inspection process again. So you can expect to see us more and more. Another thing that is on the horizon, it's in the process of being tested right now, is an online renewal application portal, which is being tested. That would be for controlled substances, agency renewals, and affirmation of compliances. So it's being tested right now. I don't know when the time frame is, but it's probably going to be closer towards the end of the year. And the final thing is we know that the BLSFR registration process has deadline is passed. We received approximately 200 agencies out of possible 1,300. So what we're going to do is run a report to find out how many of those BLSFR agencies are now listed as in the CME program. We're going to send them we're going to send them an email saying, if you want to be in, do it. If you don't, we're going to drop you out. And that's probably going to happen relatively quickly. So if you know people at a BLSFR agency that wants to participate in the CME program, tell them to take a look at policy statement 2201 and get it into me in the portal as soon as possible. Other than that, that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Questions for Joe? Sure.
Just real quick, if everyone could keep their eyes on the website, the Bureau has posted several new policy statements that every agency should be familiar with, including the latest one on monkeypox. And a reminder that renewals have to be submitted timely to allow us to process them. And if you're using the old controlled substance forms, they are not being accepted by B&E. You will get a lovely email back in response to the long submitted form from B&E. Otherwise, that's it.
All right, any questions for Mary? All right, moving right along. Zach, data and informatics report.
I don't really have anything much. I'm gonna start sending stuff out to county coordinators. So if you want any changes or modifications to what I sent you, let me know. I'll also start getting stuff out to agencies again soon. So start looking for that. That's pretty much all I have.
Any questions for Zach?
I have a couple things.
And program agency report, Ann Smith.
So I just would ask that all of you take a minute to go to the FDRHPO website And we have migrated most of the Mountain Lakes Regional Council stuff over to our website. Again, it is a work in progress. So we're open to any suggestions, or if you find something we missed, please let us know so we can fix it. But on the home page, if you scroll down, you'll see where you're able to sign up for a newsletter. There's a director's newsletter and a weekly newsletter. That shows everything that we post on that website will come out on one single day in one email to you. So we are really encouraging providers to sign up for that, because then they can look at the headlines like an RSS feed and decide what's important to them and what's not. The director's newsletter, I reserved that one for if I have something that's time sensitive or extremely important operationally that needs to get out there sooner versus just post it on the website. But you'll see trainings across the state, you'll see the new policy statements, you'll see employment ads, whatever an agency within our region ask us to post. So whether it's one of their local trainings, a regional training, a state training, it's a great way to stay engaged with EMS and to understand the changes. So we are trying to meet with each, working with the county coordinators to kind of set up virtual meetings. I do hope to be out and about and get to see and meet some of the providers and at some of the agencies over the next few months. But feel free to reach out to us. Keep an eye on your state's REMSCO, the Part F changes that came in the budget. They are currently being worked on by a committee, so if you have any input, make sure you're getting that to me sooner rather than later to add into any of that. But really, the whole gist of the thing is in Part F, it put the control of EMS into the Bureau, kind of into the bureaus and under the commissioner versus the REMSCO. So it's just wording on ensuring that the REMSCO, so all the stakeholders have a say, are kind of guiding the path as we move forward. So any questions for me is regarding the merger? Oh, was it? Did I get ahead? Yep. Okay. So I'll just move on. It's kind of next on the list. So I probably got ahead of myself talking about the website. But we have a lot of great resources on there as well, education. And as I said, we've incorporated the Mountain Lake stuff. But additionally, a couple different things. So we're going to send some forms out to agencies. One of the pages on our website has all the agencies listed. But what we're going to be asking for is the agency's website, their Facebook, or whatever contact that you want the agency wants to be used. So if I all of a sudden happen upon my website and I'm new to the area and I want to become an EMT or volunteer with an agency, I know how to get a hold of somebody who could help me become a member in that agency. So it's a recruitment page. You can currently look at what's set up for Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence. And we do actually get a lot of phone calls like that at our office because they'll search out EMS and that's what comes up as our FDR HPO EMS page. So it's a great recruitment tool for agencies. And then we will share that contact information with the agency, or the person can call them directly. So, and then we'll also be asking people, and an official correspondence will go out to register. It's called an online CME database because we use that for collection of our CMEs. And again, we're working through the processes, and how that shakes out is yet to come. But I'm excited about that. We'll be sending magnets with contact information out to all the agencies, hopefully to our hospitals. We're going to be getting out. So that's a lot on the a very, very brief overview on what's going on the consolidation front. So any questions for us?
Thank you. Moving on to new business, we need, there's a couple things on there. I'm gonna do the seats first. We have two seats up for one in Clinton County and one in Warren County. In Warren County, we only received one resume, from Jack Timms. That we forwarded here. We didn't go out to the council, we forwarded here, but the representatives from Warren County recommending Jack Timms for the seat. And then in Clinton County,
We have James Ford, who we're proposing as a replacement for Brian Westover. So Jamie's a career firefighter, currently a career firefighter, EMS provider with the City of Plattsburgh Fire Department. He also is a volunteer. Well, he works for a couple of other, he does a couple of other things. So we think he's a good candidate, and he represents that particular group of people. So we have people who represent a volunteer group, our basically in our paid services. So we think that he'll be a good fit for the group.
and background on Jack is he's retired FDNY EMS lieutenant. He lives in Warren County now. He's deputy EMS coordinator for Warren County. And he's also one of our educators for the education program. For his background. So we need a motion to accept Jack Timms and I'm sorry, Jamie Schwartz as to the council. Anyway. Tammy makes a motion to accept Jack Timms. That Vicky can.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that from anyone? All right, any abstentions? Any objections? All right, so carried. Also on our list is that we need.
Hold on. So Essex County, I just a couple other term things.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Tammy, we need to reappoint her for her second term if she would like to
oh,
do that.
Tammy, would you like to stay on? Thumbs up, you want to stay on?
Oh.
Yes.
no,
I can
um,
see you're
I
smiling.
can stay on unless somebody else has a burning desire.
Oh, but you're smiling. I think you love it, so we're gonna keep.
You do realize though, that this is like my second or third double round. Patty knows how that feels.
Yes, we like having you here.
Patty's up next. So Essex County, we have Lisa, which she can do her second term, and also Patty. It would be Patty was doing like Bryce's seat, and Bryce became coordinator. So we could appoint her for.
Okay, so Patty, you're gonna stay on? Thumbs up. Lisa Fish, you're gonna stay on?
She had to go, but she did agree to stay on.
Okay, so can I get a motion to reappoint Tammy?
Hold on. Couple more for you.
Oh, couple more, stand by.
So Adrian Hamilton and Paul Zinn, both of their first terms are up also for second term. If they would like to.
Adrian Hamilton and Paul Zinn, but I don't think they're on the call, right?
I don't think I do.
All right,
And
we're gonna have-
Franklin County is good until 2023. So Franklin County, you guys are all set.
Franklin County is good till 2023. Okay, so we'll table Paul and Adrian. To the next meeting.
Okay.
Just make sure you still want to stay on.
It was like, cool.
Greg, you unmuted yourself by
Greg,
accident.
you're not on mute anymore. Okay, so can I get a motion to approve Tammy, Patty? Craig
I'll make a
Smith,
motion.
I'll second.
Oh, and Lisa. Okay, second is Bryce. Any discussion on that? Any abstentions? Any objections? Okay, so carried.
Who's the other one that you tabled?
Adrian Hamilton and Paul Zinn. We'll reach out. I'll reach out to them and make sure they don't stay on. Add that to the agenda. Is that it? Zinn?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we need a representative for REMSCO because Patty, you're not gonna do it anymore. over. Okay, so we have to send 2 resumes to the REMSCO. I think I was gonna send one. Bryce is interested. There's anyone else?
I can,
Tiffany, you're interested?
I would like to. Mhm.
Okay. Then we'll send Tammy and Bryce down for to represent. All right. You just gotta send your, huh?
Don't want to do it.
I do, but I'll let somebody else. And you still want to do it?
I don't need to if you want to continue. I thought you were looking for 2 volunteers.
Well, I was just gonna do it because I'd sign up every year. to do it. Anyway, whenever.
Keep going.
So we just gotta send resumes down there and get a seat and some stuff. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Tammy, if you really want to do it, I'll let you do it. No.
I have a lot of committees that I sit on, so I don't really have to do it. So go for it.
All right. So we'll send.
It's right around the same time as Stack too,
I'll send
so.
Who does that?
So let's chat about it. Let me find out from Val where we're at, because we have to track them carefully. It takes a long time to get somebody vetted. It took us 5 years to vet Dr. Maynard and is our REMSCO. CMAC physician.
And let's see, Patty, do you know who your alternate?
Two, I'm not feeling better.
They never vetted anybody as my alternate.
I know I sent.
So-
And my question is if we're consolidated, is there still a need for Mountain Lakes rep?
Yes,
It's
Yes.
the REMSCO, not the
Okay.
contract agency.
yes.
Okay. It's a lot of fun.
Is it easier if somebody's already been vetted? With them on?
And the storm's already been vetted.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe that's weak.
I'm sure it is, because that's always the speed bump, like, but, you know, your
Because
name being presented, your name and resume going there, it's like, ta-da, everybody votes for it, yes.
And then we would send another person, if they could vet me quickly, because I've already been vetted once. Then Bryce could back me up and I could step down in a year and then you can take over,
Problem is
kind of thing.
your alternates have no voting right or whatever, or to even step up quickly, so I'm not sure why we have alternates. Other than you can sit at the table and speak, which I speak anyways, even though I'm not sitting at the table. And you can also join, there can be half the members, you can join committees because
And get your name up there, but no.
you can be half that, but so it's really important, and I don't think it makes a difference one way or another whether you've been vetted or not, because the process is different depending on the administration above.
Yeah, I
Above
was
the
just gonna
the
say that.
administration above the administration.
I
Right,
was
it's
just gonna
not
say
even
that,
the
that
bureau.
you'd probably go through the process all over again.
Yeah,
Patty, are you gonna keep going until we get somebody on there,
No, I gave my resignation.
or, we'll send stuff in? Let's get-
well, I'm at every meeting and I speak if needed,
We'll start, whatever we gotta do, start the process.
but, okay.
All right, well, let's do the public comment and then do the executive committee, because then, does that sound all right? Everybody? Is there anybody that has any, business for Mountain Lakes?
We have
That is a guest that's on.
A resolution for the,
Oh, yes, the resolution. We need a resolution for going forward with the budget, and because the REMSCO itself is gonna have a small budget, we want to get a resolution to get a couple of bank cards just in case that we need to purchase anything. Storm would have.
We need
Yeah.
access to it, so we need to form a new checking account and get whatever we need to make it functional. So we need to do checking.
We need to do checking account, and we need whatever
So
we need to do to make us functional as the REMSCO.
I make a motion to give Storm, who's the treasurer, the authority to create a new checking account, as well as any other fiscal decisions to become functional as their own entity.
Can I get a second on that? There's a second from Eric Telflo in the back. Any discussion on that? Okay, any abstentions?
So just on a discussion point, this is, the new budget year money coming in. This is not stuff we're still owed by the state, just so we're clear on that.
Yeah. This is just going forward, just Mountain Lakes REMSCO going forward. Any other discussion? Any abstentions? Any objections? Okay, so carried. That was it.
You got anything else? Even if you can sign it, still.
All right, from any of the guests, that are on, period of public comment? Any questions from Mountain Lakes? All right. Craig, you want to make your motion? Craig's gone.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session.
Second on that? Second is Bryce Taylor.
Okay, before we go, I have to identify who the 266-696-87, I might have left out a 6, their phone number is. Otherwise, I'm going to have to remove you from the meeting. Because,
Anybody who's not a voting member of the council, can leave the meeting.
oops, 266-696. 6687, something like that.
It's what?
687. I don't think it's a real phone number. Bye.
Well, guess what? They're going bye-bye. So I apologize if it's, I just figured I had to do this, so.
I think it actually says it's spelled.
Remove from the.
Come on.
Here you go.
They're gone. So let's just double check here and then we'll leave, I'll leave.
And I've got off back there already.
Just Joe.
Okay.
Johnson.
Jonathan, he's not, he's the organizer, but he's not on. He's my staff. Colleen.
Those are just other invited.
Oh, these are other invited. Okay. So is this everybody here, members?
Except for Joe Farrell.
Okay.
We're gonna kick you out, Joe. Kicking you out, Joe, sorry.
Bye.
Bye. I'm getting kicked out with you, Joe. If you need anything, I'll be right outside the door.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you for done. We get a motion to leave executive session.
Executive session.
Second. Okay. All right, so we're coming out of the executive session. Okay, you guys come back. And then if there's no other business. You gotta make the motion. Yeah. If there's no other business, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Make a motion.
We got Matt and we got Bryce. Okay, thank you all for taking the time to come out. I know it was a kind of a long meeting. We'll see you October 24th. I remember. October 24th is the next meeting, so we'll see you then.
Like if it's.
Thank you again.
Class.
Thank you. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you.